Hello, everybody. This is Venus Winter Tarot reading. This is for people with significant Venus placements in their chart. Likewise, you could have significant Libra or Taurus placements in your charts. So I read by planet, not zodiac. Find it. Ooh, what's going on here? Okay, interesting. Like, why a significant portion of these cards like face the wrong way? Is that significant? I don't know. But yeah, so significant Venus placements. In your chart. So yeah, I'm using two things. So one is a deck, Cosmic Tarot. The other is Pantone postcards. They're color cards, and I tend to use them. So let's see. So let's say past, present, future. That's not necessarily these. Jeepers. Interesting. I felt a purple. Like, bitch, no, you did. Answers a guide to the highest order. Please come through. For this reading, let it be insightful and impactful. Let it be what the person who comes through needs to hear. Protect the space so that the reading is clear, concise. Okay. Thank you for the gift. Okay, so we have Deep Forest, 3 Swords, 108 with 6 of Pentacles and 765 Buller for 5 of Cups, and then we have 8 of Cups there. A lot of people are releasing, like every video I've had, someone's releasing something. Pinto Deep Forest, there could be something about wintertime that's very like bittersweet for you. Either like just a lot of experiences with loss perhaps, and it doesn't have to be like people like died, but it could just be like different types of loss, right? Like the concept of loss, right? Even like the loss that's like right next to it with the yellow sunlight and what sunlight maybe represents. Like, you know, Queen of Swords and 4 of Cups. Like, you have to kind of progress through, even if you don't want to at this time. And that can be really hard for people who it really wears on. You may need to change your environment at some point to a place where seasonally maybe easier to deal with year round. So probably more southern hemisphere, to be honest. Northern hemisphere, you're always gonna have like shorter days in the wintertime. And not that like the southern hemisphere doesn't have winter, but like a lot of the places tend to be a lot more tropical, a lot warmer, you know what I'm saying? So you may just need to like move. Like you could be from there and be like, oh my god, I can't fucking deal with this. I knew someone who was like that. I was just like, bro, like just move. Like, why are you here? So it could be like also that you're gonna try and be an autopilot and be like happy all the time, and I kind of feel like you're doing yourself a disservice though with this like this green card, this deep forest card, you're doing yourself a disservice, because you're really just putting a band-aid on like the issue, and you're really just calling for like a self-destruction, like, of sorts. And it could be like you become increasingly isolated the further you try to push yourself into happiness. So for some people, this may be like, trigger warning, a like unaliving kind of like ideation. I hate saying unalive because I just fucking hate words like that. Like, I hate censorship when it comes to stuff like this. Like, we need to actually really talk about stuff, and I just like don't like that we have to choose different words. But essentially, like, getting there. So I would say the more you want to, like, I think getting real about your emotions will help you kind of bring this like sunshine and sunlight out, because at least you'll be like, it'll be the truth of what you're feeling. Because like the forcing yourself to like be happy and forcing yourself to push through is actually causing a lot more isolation, because it becomes a defensive-ness and a murkiness with this that other people can't see. And so people, when things like this happen, incidents like unaliving incidents happen, we tend to be very blindsided, because I'm gonna be real, no one thinks to look past anything, right? They don't see anything suspicious. They're not really interested in looking deeper. They're not really, like, able to sometimes, because people have their own things. And so it's very easy for people to slip through the cracks when it comes to stuff like this, because everybody's like occupied with like their own issues, and it's just very easy to slide through the cracks. So I would say kind of the more you not lean into whatever it is, but acknowledge it and like don't try to push through, the better it will probably be, because at least you can admit that there's something there, and you don't have to do it like publicly. But I think, if there's a few close people with the Six of Pentacles that you feel like comfortable talking about that stuff with, then do it. I would also, strive to meet with a professional who can provide you services that you need. And it may not be, with this purple card, this 8 of Cups and 5 of Cups, it may feel exhausting at how far you have to go and how much work you have to do, and it may cause you to just like do the fake positivity, because it's like the easiest route, the easiest short-term route. But short-term isn't going to help when you have like severe issues, right? So I would personally, not mental health advice, and not medical advice, because I'm not a counselor or medical health professional, but I would go for it with something that you can actually get these emotions out. Because trying to go online, particularly, and force yourself to show up really could be quite painful. Almost like you're letting other people down. And it's almost like the consumer of this energy is so wrapped up in their own world that they don't care. And so you may understand that no one cares. And it's not that no one really cares. It's just when it comes to consumption of like positivity and positive media and fake positivity, especially, people really don't care. They're looking for their own like fix emotionally. And so, they'll just use that content and move forward with it. And it could leave you with this 5 of Cups and 8 of Cups, kind of like drained and kind of like ambivalent about your world, particularly your online world, that you're projecting out this positivity or trying to project out this positivity, and are seeking like kind of a reinforcement back. For some of you, you may have to work through the idea of attention and the idea of being seen, and you may have increased popularity, but you may feel more alone than ever, and that's something that you would have to work through this winter. The sun, whatever sunlight you can get, do it. I would get it. I'm trying to get one card. Whatever you can get it. And I think it's okay to not have as much energy at this point. I would say if it's hurting your productivity at work, and it's kind of, leaning into capitalism, you never can have rest. But I think a lot of people, when it comes to stuff like arguments like that, really downplay the helpfulness to mental health that working gives, because it does give a sense of purpose and meaning, and it gives you a sense of pushing through resiliency that if you are unemployed, immediately is just irretrievable because it's not an option for you. That being said, showing up because other people need you and being selfless, particularly when you're hurting, will hurt you in the long run if you don't address any issues to kind of balance out what's being taken from you, right? Like your energy and spirit and stuff like that. Like, you have to actually address that imbalance. So with the Prince of Cups, you do have things that are fulfilling. I would work on those steadily. I wouldn't manically approach them, because I think there would be a desperation of, I'll never have this happiness again. And so you may have periods of erratic behavior based on that. Based on I'll never be happy again, so you'll do as much stuff in one sitting as humanly possible, and you will put forth so much energy. But I would fall back from that. I would be consistent. Like, if you're going to do it every day, do it every day, but I wouldn't do it fanatically. So working through these things, a mental health professional is definitely required. Working and being active and moving forward is definitely required from what I see. And it can just take many different forms, like, art, music, singing, dancing, things like that. But not manically trying to escape. Making sure that you're doing things not alone a lot, I think it does make a difference, the people that you're around, the people who can clock this, and the people who are most likely to help you. And it may be very few people, but the people that you do feel safe around, I would open up wholeheartedly and invite them into your world of rebuilding, because they'll actively want to be there. They'll want to be there and active. They'll want to be there. And they'll want to be a part of that healing process because they love you and they want you to move forward, and not for selfish reasons if they get to talk to you, but that you are moving in your own actualized being and state, and you can look yourself in the mirror and you can like what you see, and it's a beautiful thing to hang out with people who like what they see in the mirror and like who they are, and they feel fulfilled and they feel some sort of purpose. You know, it may not be every day, but more days than not, you know. So I think if you were on the brink of unaliving, I would reach out to some sort of hotline first and just be open about what you're feeling, and then go from there with the resources that are given to you. And going into it with the attitude of I'm going to get better, I would kind of remove people's ideas and thoughts of and their perceptions of you, because that'll potentially deter you from it, particularly if you feel like you should have a better handle on things, like this perfectionistic kind of attitude. And so working through it, there may be a lot of ambivalence or like kind of agnostic feelings towards your progress. There's an idea that you feel like you should be happy in a certain way. You should be happy. You know, you have a house, you have this, you have that, you should be happy. But those things are great. They definitely relieve a lot of stressors in life, having your basic needs met. But we as humans, we do have, I think, desires that go beyond that. And, you know, there's a lot of people out there who don't have those higher levels, I guess, of Maslow's hierarchy of needs like met. And you probably are one of them, and you're seeking some way to get them met. And so I would definitely acknowledge where you are and keep working toward it, not as an avoidant route, but as something to keep you a lot more balanced. A lot more balanced, a lot more in the game of life. Because stagnancy for you is really like detrimental. And so moving forward would be best. Creating some art, creating some music, pouring yourself into art would help. Maybe an art therapist would help for you as well. Some sort of art, or just an art project or something like that you could look back on and reflect where you've been without shame, you know? Just kind of accept it for what it is and where you are. And so, yeah. Okay, thank you for watching, Venus. You're the last video of the planet. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hope you found it impactful and insightful. And I'll see you in the next reading. All right, take care.